Midnight is crawling with danger, but Eon ignores the shadows to tend to her beloved trees. After a nutrient injection, she whispers comfort. Little does she know, her peaceful night is about to shatter. Talking to plants makes her look insane. She questions why the mountain owner abandoned these living souls. She scoffs at his cold negligence. Just a few more trees to check before escaping this eerie silence. The forest is deathly quiet tonight. For Yan, it felt like any other day filled with tedious client work. Just another routine shift, she thought. But the mountain holds a dark secret that's watching her every move. As she tends to the forgotten greenery, fate is weaving a deadly web. A scream echoes in the darkness. An injured man begs for mercy. He dangles over a dark abyss, offering secrets just to stay alive. His pursuer is a literal demon, a twisted deviant who mocks the desperate prayers of the dying. Death is too easy, he sneers. The real show is just starting. Then, he kicks the man into the pit. Hidden in the brush, Yan watches. She has stumbled into a nightmare, a witness to a cold-blooded execution. Trembling from a distance, she freezes. Her eyes widen in pure terror. What kind of monster is this? It's a murder. She must run. Reaching for her phone with shaky hands, she begins to back away slowly. Crack! A single twig betrays her. The sound rings out like a gunshot, alerting the killer instantly. The deviant stops. The air turns icy. Cold sweat drenches Yan's face as her heart hammers against her ribs. She prays she isn't seen. Then, she spots another lifeless body. This man is a professional reaper. Panic flares, should she run or hide? One wrong move means certain death. The hunter is sensing his prey. Her mind goes completely blank. Trapped between the shadows and a killer, there is nowhere left to go. Their eyes meet. The trap snaps shut. The predator has found a new toy to play with in the dark. He wears a sickening, twisted grin. "Aren't you going to run?" he whispers. Those words spark a primal fear. Yan bolts. She runs for her life through the jagged rocks and thorns as her lungs begin to burn. The killer doesn't rush. He smiles. He gives her a head start, savoring the thrill of the hunt. Gasping for air, she dials 911. She screams her location to the police, desperate for a miracle. But the operator is skeptical and slow. "Are you sure it's a body?" they ask, wasting her precious final seconds. She screams the truth of her eyes. The police finally start to listen, asking for her name and ID. "It's Yan," she cries out in agony. "Please, hurry. He's right behind me. I don't want to die here." The officer promises help is coming, but they add a cold warning, "Don't let this be a prank." Suddenly, a thin wire grazes her skin. Cold steel meets her delicate neck. The predator has caught his butterfly. She is at his absolute mercy. "You dropped this," the deviant mocks, holding out her heavy chainsaw. He tells her to be more careful. Handing back the weapon with a smirk, Yan feels the shadow of death. Her quiet life flashes before her eyes. Her dreams of a peaceful future are crumbling in this bloody mountain. Rage replaces her fear. She won't die. Yan swings the heavy chainsaw directly at the killer's head. He's still standing, barely bruised, but his eyes are filled with shock. He didn't expect the prey to bite. Yan stares at his bewildered face. The tension is thick enough to choke. Then, a shadow rises behind him. The dying victim strikes back. A heavy rock crashes against the skull of the legendary professional killer. It's a gruesome, chaotic sight. The deviant tries to fight the darkness, but his world finally goes black. The victim vanishes into the night. Yan is left alone with the body, trembling as the monster lies still. This was the start of their bond. The man who hunted her is now her secret, silent guest. He's been a vegetable for 2 years. A sleeping demon in Yan's care, waiting for the day he wakes. Meanwhile, life goes on for Yan. She's back to being a tree doctor, hiding her dark secret from the world. She examines a struggling, ancient tree. The diagnosis? A severe case of botanical constipation and blockage. The principal is stunned by the news. "Explain yourself," he demands. Yan bluntly says the tree can't poop. "Healthy bowel movements are essential," she claims. "Whether you're a plant or a person, everything must eventually flow out." The man loses his patience and roars. He demands a professional medical explanation for this ridiculous, stinky situation. His shouting echoes through the schoolyard, terrifying the innocent children nearby. The peaceful life has truly returned. The principal feigns a desperate plea, begging Yan to save the school's dying symbol. Yan smirks internally. For a pro like her, this treatment is child's play. Biology is simple, what goes in must eventually be purged, even for trees. Little does she know, a venomous snake hides behind his pathetic, pleading mask. He plans to work her to exhaustion before destroying her results for profit. The villain is already plotting a lawsuit, dreaming of a full refund. He thinks he has won, but Yan is about to drop a bombshell. The atmosphere shifts instantly, leaving the principal trembling in a cold sweat. "Nice building expansion," she whispers. But the soil tells a darker secret. She exposes his crime: he buried toxic construction waste beneath the roots. The tree is suffocating, a victim of his heartless, calculated greed. The old fox still tries to play dumb, clinging to his lies. Jan doesn't flinch. He chose profit over life, a truly fatal mistake. City Hall will love this. She's ready to bury his entire career. Purging is vital. She leaves him frozen in a state of pure shock. The mask is shattered. The principal knows the game is finally over. He begs for mercy, but Jan is already weighing her next move. But fate has other plans for this doctor. She returns as a Reaper. "I save life, but I also eliminate it." Her real specialty? Eliminating corrupt guardians who think they're untouchable. With a smile that would freeze the very air, she hands him a card. "Welcome to my tree hospital. Visit often." Men always see her as prey, unaware they've met their ultimate predator. She has survived far worse monsters in her deadly line of work. Suddenly, a phone call shatters her composure like a gunshot. Her boss is 5 minutes away from breaking down her secret door. Jan floors the gas. Her heart races. Her deadly secret is in peril. "I heard a sound," the boss warns. Suspicion is turning lethal. Jan lies desperately, claiming the forbidden room is completely empty. A locksmith is already there. Jan's world begins to crumble. 3 minutes, she screams. "Don't you dare touch that lock." The boss ignores the plea, ordering the lock to be dismantled. Curiosity is a death sentence, and Jan is desperate to stop it. Every second feels like an eternity as the locksmith works his magic. Behind that door lies her secret husband, a sleeping, cold-blooded killer. If she's a second late, her obsessive romance will be exposed. She bursts onto the scene, stopping the locksmith at the final click. Her boss is fuming, watching Yen pay him off with trembling hands. "You're too early," the boss growls. Frustrated, her curiosity was thwarted. Jan snaps, grabbing her collar. "That floor is off limits. He is mine." "You're hiding a monster," the boss scoffs, sensing the dark aura. Jan struggles to find words. "The truth is a cage of thorns. Don't you trust me after all we've been through? Is it gold bars? No. It is a love more dangerous than death." To keep her boss safe, Yan stands by her lie. He is her secret. Her boss demands entry, but Jan blocks the door, claiming the air inside is toxic and stagnant. She must endure being called a liar, anything to keep that forbidden room sealed shut. Discovery means her certain death, all because of 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒍𝒍𝒚, the monster she met that fateful day. 2 years ago, she woke up in a nightmare caged like prey before that terrifying man. Her memories were a blur of mountain mist before waking in that dark, cold cell. Confusion turned to pure horror as Jan realized she was trapped in a literal slaughterhouse. The stench of iron and raw meat shattered her sanity, leaving her trembling in despair. Kwon watched her silence break into a panic before asking why she committed such a crime. His voice was ice as he revealed her victim was his own younger brother. Terror flooded her soul. She was trapped between a deviant and his insane, powerful brother. She refused to die in silence, screaming that it was all a terrible misunderstanding. "It was self-defense," she cried out, insisting she never dealt the final lethal blow. She exposed his brother's sins, how he was a killer burying his own victims. But Kwon didn't blink. One body meant nothing to him. She was in deeper than she imagined. He was simply annoyed his fun was ruined and asked how she viewed his monstrous brother. There was no right answer for this madman. With common sense gone, she began to beg. She pleaded her innocence, claiming she was only on the mountain to tend to the trees. Her desperate cries filled the air, knowing her life was crumbling into ruin. To survive the lion's den, she had to make a choice. She snitched, revealing the brother's own victim had struck him with a stone. She confessed to using a chainsaw in defense, but Kwon's eyes remained cold and skeptical. He claimed his brother was a predator, someone who could never be caught off guard. Despair swallowed her whole. She was trapped with no escape from this living hell. Then, the heavens played a twisted trick. Kwon called her name, stating the truth didn't matter. He could frame her perfectly if he wished. Since his brother was now a vegetable, she was the one who had to pay the price. Jan couldn't believe the monster was broken in a permanent waking sleep. But she remembered the look in his eyes right after the saw bit into him. Death felt certain until he offered a deal. Act smart and she might just stay alive. He threw a contract at her feet, mocking how quickly she understood her new reality. The shackles were removed only so she could sign her soul away to him. No time to read. She was now the caretaker of the man she tried to kill. Her mission was the White Dome, a golden cage where she could bind him if necessary. That was 2 years ago, and the nightmare is still her reality. Now, at the stroke of midnight, Yan enters the room to check on her prisoner. She watches him sleep, a peaceful plant hiding the demon within. 2 years with Wan Chiu, while the world believes the crime scene never existed. The police labeled her a liar, forcing her to pay for a report they erased. Wealth built a fortress in a heartbeat, a second floor appearing out of nowhere. Private doctors and constant shadows. The power of the elite is truly suffocating. Gizio's threat was no hollow promise. He owns the law and her life. She must guard Che-woo in this dome until a phantom culprit is finally found. It is a heavy burden, so she prays every night that he never opens his eyes. If he stays a plant, she stays safe, but fate is rarely so kind to the desperate. A single finger moves, and Yan's quiet hell is about to ignite into flames. The next morning, Yan is busy until her boss orders her to meet the Seoul landscaping heir. Yan barely glances up, focused on her work, mocking how the boss's new crush is practically a grandchild to her. The boss drops a bombshell. This man is for Yan. A marriage meeting to secure their future. Yan is confused. What kind of opportunity is this? Their tree hospital is drowning in debt. Dongo Hospital stole their clients, leaving them barely surviving. Their rivals are ruthless business sharks, leaving Yan with a heavy heart. She remembers clearly. Dongo Hospital invaded with a massive tower, crushing everyone with aggressive persuasion. Yet, Yan holds dark secrets about that place that could change everything. For now, the boss wants Yan to marry the heir to reclaim their stolen glory. She even gives Yan a queue number, insisting on a simple tea date. Yan flatly refuses. She is no gold digger. This plan is too shady, but her boss calls her out for talking nonsense. She tells Yan bluntly that she lacks the talent to be a gold digger anyway. It is just a simple introduction, nothing more. Frustrated, Yan demands to know how she knew the heir had returned. The young man's father leaked the info, making Yan even more suspicious. Turns out, they were old colleagues. Yan is stunned by the revelation. Her boss cannot understand why this news is so shocking. She warns Yan, a good husband is chosen with strategy, not just left to fate. Before she can finish, Yan flees to the garden. Her boss is annoyed but lets her go, wondering if Yan intends to die alone. Under the sun, Yan dreams of a quiet life, peaceful and undisturbed by romance. But a dark shadow looms. A killer is hidden in her home. His presence is a ticking time bomb she has tried to ignore. When Yan first brought Chu home, she lived in constant terror of him waking. But as he remained in a coma, her fear turned into a strange relief. At midnight, Yan performs her daily ritual, checking the second floor before sleep. She prays that tomorrow remains safe and Che-woo stays asleep. Her peace shatters instantly. The bed is empty. Che-woo is gone. Panic sets in. Gizio will come for her if he escapes. She must find Chu before it is too late. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the shadows. Che-woo grabs her with lethal force. He pins her down effortlessly. Yan struggles, but he is like iron. Her mind reels. None of this makes sense. After 2 years bedridden, his strength is terrifyingly unnatural. She begs him to let go, but he remains unmoved. Yan forces herself to stay calm. She calls him by name, pleading to let her call a doctor. He shushes her with a cold warning, stay quiet and answer him. Then comes the question, did she lock him up, or did he? Yan screams in denial, wondering what kind of monster she brought home. Desperate, she tries to explain he was just a patient all along. Yan trembles, revealing he has been in a coma for 2 years, desperate to soothe the beast. Suddenly, he pins her down, his amber eyes glowing in the shadows like a predator. Her voice quivers as she calls his name, trying to de-escalate his rising bloodlust, but his eyes are empty pits. Cha-woo, he mutters. Is that who I am? Yan freezes in shock as he asks if she is someone important to his past. When she hesitates, he presses a cold syringe against her neck. Should I kill you? Reality hits her like a freight train. This lethal man has lost every single memory. A dangerous idea sparks. This amnesia is her only chance to survive his deadly world. She forces tears, acting like a woman whose heart was shattered by his cold indifference. We were everything to each other, she lies, claiming they shared a deep, intimate bond. Intimate? Only if you count catching him in the middle of a brutal murder. She spins a web of lies, describing a fated connection that cannot be severed. In truth, she is trapped by a contract signed with his ruthless brother, Gishok. Cha-woo studies her every flinch, his instincts hunting for lies beneath her words. You are shaking, he whispers. Were you sold off like a slave or a parasite? These are not insults. They are the only dark fragments of life he still remembers. Yan panics, insisting he was a kind man who treated her with nothing but love. She claims he gave her a necklace. It was actually the cord used to choke her. He looks at her with suspicion, sensing her praise sounds like brainwashing, not devotion. Cha-woo wonders if he was a monster. Ironically, Yan denies the brainwashing while doing it. She is rewriting his soul, turning a cold killer into her own personal protector. She claims he never harmed her, acting shocked by his current, terrifyingly cold behavior. His expression turns ice cold. Why? He demands. Why would I never harm a girl like you? The sheer pressure of his aura makes it impossible for Yin to even catch her breath. Suddenly, he clutches his head in agony and collapses, leaving Yan screaming his name. Before he fell, she planted a seed. You cannot hurt me because the law forbids it. She recalls her boss's words. A solid partner is found through calculation, not fate. To ensure her safety, Yan delivers the ultimate lie. I am your wife. Perhaps the shock of that fake marriage was too much for his fractured brain. 30 days later, Yan is back at work, tending to a tree struck by lightning. Her client weeps, fearing the dying tree is an omen for her son in the army. In her eyes, the scorched wood is a sign that death is coming for her family. Yan ignores the superstition, finding that the roots are still pulsing with a spark of life. Her boss watches, wondering if saving such a broken thing is worth the effort. If the tree dies, Yan takes the blame, but she refuses to give up on it. This tree holds a mother's heart and a promise for her son's birthday. Determination blazes in Yan's eyes. She will try every method possible to save it. Just as she asks for medicine, a phone call shatters the quiet of the nursery. Her boss sees the heavy exhaustion in Yan's eyes as she steps away to answer. It is the hospital calling. Cha-woo's condition has taken yet another mysterious turn. Her skin still crawls with the memory of him pinning her down that dark night. The doctor is baffled. After 2 years of sleep, the patient has slipped away again. His body heals like a monster's, yet he suffers from the rare curse of hypersomnia. Known as the Sleeping Beauty disease, its origins remain a total medical mystery. Aside from his missing memories, Cha-woo's brain shows no other signs of damage. The diagnosis is a mystery. Doctors must monitor him to find the truth. Usually, a hyperomnia patient's sleep is unpredictable. Cha-woo's slumber just kept growing longer. 12 days have passed in silence. Yan confirms if he will ever wake. The doctor's uncertainty is her salvation. Yan heaves a massive sigh of relief. She beams with gratitude, leaving the doctor stunned by her chillingly joyful tone. Returning to the ladies, Yan apologizes and vows to save the tree. Her words spark hope, signaling her boss that she's back in the game. Yet, the doctor remains deeply unsettled by Yan's bizarre reaction to the news. He chalks it up to extreme stress and her crumbling emotional state. Suddenly, he recalls a dark detail. This sleeping beauty curse triggers primal behaviors. Aggression and hypersexuality are coming, but he stays silent, expecting no awakening. He buries the warning for later and heads out to grab lunch. On his way, he wonders about Gizio, the brothers surely drowning in worry. A better hospital would be ideal, yet they drag Cha-woo back home. To the doctor, morality is secondary. He only cares about getting paid. He will simply play his part. Still, Cha-woo's haunting whispers linger. Please don't wake me up, he begged. It was a chilling omen. Fast forward several days into this twisted arrangement. Night falls on Yen's home. Before resting, she must check her prisoner. 2 years have passed. Now, she's turned this nightmare into a perfect advantage. It all started with a lie. 1 month ago, she claimed his wife. That reckless lie haunted her, but his endless slumber feels like a miracle. This silence is a true miracle. He returned home today, but when she checks, the bed is cold. Panic surges as she curses him. She sprints into the streets, heart racing. He's weak, yet he's vanished. A terrifying thought takes root in her mind. Suddenly, a crimson trail stains the pavement. Her heart skips in pure terror. She follows the blood. There stands Chu, clutching a mangled, dead rooster. His eyes are no longer human. A beastly hunger glares back. Terror paralyzes her. She begins backpedaling away from the monster she's awakened. She must take control. Stealing her nerves, she asks how he even walked. Put the chicken down, she commands, but he remains deathly silent. Repulsion hits her. He hadn't just killed it, he had torn it apart. As she gags, Chu speaks. Where were you? I only remember your face. He broke the door to find her. Realizing he remembers, Yan starts panicking. She forces her heart to still. She must play the game to survive. There is still room to manipulate him and bend danger to her will. She discards the wife lie. You're mistaken. I'm just the doctor saving your life. She spins a tale of his long slumber and his fractured, unstable mind. Your senses are lying, she whispers, blaming his madness on the shadows. She weaves false comfort, assuring him everything he sees is just a dream. Go back to sleep, she promises. When you wake, you will feel better. It's a bold gamble. For a moment, it seems the predator is listening. He agrees slowly. If this were real, I wouldn't even be standing here. He confesses his coma was a fever dream of intimacy with her. His mind is now sharp, focusing on a singular, terrifying reality. He realizes his wife is desperately trying to escape his reach. Cha-woo's voice feels like cold chains tightening around her soul. Yan's heart screams to flee, yet she is paralyzed by fear. She has walked directly into a predator's carefully hidden snare. The air turns heavy as he demands her name with lethal impatience. His eyes darken as he warns her. There won't be a third time. Trembling, she finally whispers her name. Soleil Yan. He questions if her lies were a desperate attempt to abandon him. She weaves a frantic tale, claiming she only wanted to protect him. He accepts the bait, but her mind is strictly on survival. He rebukes her, reminding her of the marital law she cited. His gaze drills into her, searching for the scent of betrayal. Her terrified expression convinces him that his claim on her is absolute. He mistakes his obsessive madness for a deep, soul-consuming love. But she remembers the monster who tried to kill her that day. She is cursed by her own lies, praying he never remembers. She plays the doting wife, secretly plotting her final escape. For now, she must tend to the beast's bleeding wounds. He claims their matrimonial home, and she is forced to comply. Exhausted, she drags the wounded killer back to their shared cage. He observes her fatigue with a predatory, calculating gaze. She hides the truth. Hauling a murderer has drained her spirit. He insists he could have walked, masking his lethal power. She lies, claiming her care was only for his recovery. In truth, she's only terrified of being blamed for his death. She sends him to wash while she prepares for the ordeal. Moments later, the air thickens as she tends to his bedside. She sees his pain, but her heart remains a frozen fortress. Their eyes lock, and she recoils from his burning intensity. He watches her like a wolf stalking its final prey. She reminds herself, this man is a killer, not a patient. Her hands move fast, desperate to escape this suffocating proximity. She finishes the treatment, eager to vanish into the shadows. As she tries to leave, his voice cuts through the silence. He reminds her, a husband and wife must share a bed. Panic flares as she stammers excuses about his fragile health. He dismisses her pleas. He is awake, and he wants her. Her own lies have trapped her in a bedroom with a demon. He promises restraint, vowing to merely breathe by her side. A vow of safety that feels like a new kind of prison. Left with no choice, she lies down in the dark beside her potential executioner. The interrogation begins as she prays for the safety of Dawn. He demands to know how he became a living ghost. Yan feels the pressure, weaving a web of convenient lies. She fabricates a tragic mountain accident. Hearing this, Chae-woo's gaze softens with genuine worry. She insists she's fine, masking the terror in her heart. He asks when they wed. 2 years ago, she lies, counting the days of her cage. Guilt consumes him. He believes he's the villain who stole her honeymoon. His unexpected empathy catches her off guard. But the killer's curiosity is endless. When did their romance first ignite? Panic flares. Yan's mind is a blank canvas with no memories to paint. Fearing exposure, she claims it was a whirlwind marriage right after they met. He pushes further. Was it a heated one-night stand? Was their first touch a fated explosion of desire? Yan withers under his gaze. He chuckles, calling her bold for seducing a man like him. She denies it, so he assumes he was the predator. He finds it amusing. Yan shivers. Why is this conversation turning so dangerously intimate? The shared blanket feels like a trap. She senses his heat closing in. To kill the mood, she desperately agrees with his twisted version. She deals a killing blow. Their chemistry was terrible. He stares back, utterly confused. It was clumsy and disappointing, she claims, hoping to extinguish his growing flame. To him, this ego-bruising revelation is more traumatic than his lost memories. She gambles everything, claiming he's basically impotent, and she actually prefers his monk-like restraint. His pride shatters. Is he truly a man without fire? That's why their marriage remains strictly platonic, she adds. Insulted, Chae-woo wonders why she stayed. How deep is her love for this broken man? The misunderstanding spirals out of control. Good, she thinks. Just go to sleep. To stay alive, she must keep him lost in this fog. Once he drifts off, she prays. She begs for him to fall back into slumber. But the monster is still awake, still craving details of their first time. She uses his obsession against him, deepening his shame until he finally falls silent. She prays again, pleading for his sleeping beauty syndrome to return forever. Morning light stabs through the curtains, waking a weary Yan. Her heart sinks. Her prayers were ignored. Chae-woo is wide awake. Did you sleep well? He asks. The silence breaks as Yan screams in pure terror. He watches her panic, unable to comprehend her fear. Why is he awake? She frantically calls the doctor to solve this anomaly. The doctor arrives, performing tests on the man who shouldn't be conscious. It's too soon to tell. They need more data to track his waking pattern. Yan realizes with dread that he could rise again tomorrow. By observation, the doctor suspects a trigger. What in this house brought him back from the darkness? Chae-woo speaks up. Perhaps sharing a bed with his beautiful wife was the spark. The doctor notes it down, intrigued by this wife he never knew existed. Yan avoids the doctor's eyes. He suspects intimacy, but her silence screams a different truth. The doctor turns back to his notes, preparing for a new medical trial. Money is his only master, so the doctor suggests a dangerous game. To monitor the recovery, they must continue sharing a bed. Those words strike Yan like a physical blow. She never expected this outcome. There is no escape now. She is falling deeper into the lethal trap she built for herself. Hours later, Yan stares blankly at the screen. How can she survive living under the same roof as Cha-woo? Then there is her boss, Chu-ja. She needs a convincing story, and she needs it fast. If Cha-woo starts wandering the house, she will need an excuse. But Yan knows nothing of romance. Her lies feel paper-thin. Deceiving a woman like Chu-ja, an expert in the game of love, is a mission next to impossible. Her strength is fading fast under the weight of this secret. Doing this alone is exhausting, but dragging Chu-ja in is a death sentence. The contract is clear. Any witness becomes an accomplice. She sinks to her knees on the floor, desperate for a way out of this waking nightmare. On screen, a reporter warns about a scam. The advice is chillingly simple. Never handle danger alone. Trust someone you love. For Yan, this is the divine sign she has been waiting for. She summons Chu-ja and spills everything. 2 years of secrets pour out, earning her a sharp reprimand for such a deadly silence. Chu-ja is baffled. Why the wife lie? Yan explains it was her only shield against his immediate violence. He attacked her the second he woke up. She had to lie. But even so, Chu-ja does not approve. To Chu-ja, the moment Yan claimed a romantic connection with Cha-woo, her fate was sealed forever. The cold truth bites hard. She has rebranded a predator as a husband, and there is no turning back. Annoyed, Chu-ja tries to wash her hands of it, but Yan is desperate. She just wants the world to believe. Chu-ja watches her friend ruin her own life. Where is he? She demands. Where is the monster now? He is at the hospital for physical therapy, but he will be back to claim his home very soon. Soon arrives far too quickly. Cha-woo's voice echoes through the hall, calling out for his wife in the distance. He stands right behind Chu-ja. The air freezes under his icy glare. Yan whispers a frantic warning to her boss. She truly fears for her boss's life in this moment. But Chu-ja surprises her. "My son-in-law is here," she chirps, diving headfirst into the madness as Cha-woo enters. He scans his new surroundings with sharp eyes, quickly discovering that Yan is a professional tree doctor. He has never heard of such a thing. Curiosity flickers. What did he do before the world went black? Her mind races. She spins a lie, turning ending lives into planting flowers at the hospital. Chu-ja is stunned by her tongue. For a second, Chu-ja doubts the stories. Could this man really be the cold-blooded killer Yan described to her? His face looks so innocent, so angelic. But then, he shatters the silence. "Mother-in-law," he says, leaving both women breathless. He does not notice their shock. He only has eyes for Yan and asks to sit by her side. He waits for her, eyes wide and trusting. But Yan sees only a predator's trap and rushes to him out of fear. Chu-ja sees the truth. The obsessive cycle she feared has already taken root in his heart. She knows relationships never end neatly, especially with a man like him. Yan is still blind to the impending danger. Yan is just trying to survive. She tries to shield Chu-ja, explaining that she is not actually his family. She is just hospital staff. Yan lies. They have known each other so long that son-in-law became a casual nickname. Cha-woo takes this to heart. If she matters to Yan, he must win her over. He offers a polite apology. He was told he was a gentleman. He looks to Chu-ja for confirmation, and she plays along with the lie. "I will be the husband you deserve," he vows. He is certain the man he used to be will return. Why? Because the doctor promised his instincts would soon lead him back to his true, dark, and deadly self. If the killer returns, Yan is finished. She begs him not to rush his recovery, her voice trembling with anxiety. "Don't push yourself," she pleads. "You might get hurt." She is desperate to keep the monster asleep forever. Her formal tone bothers him. "Speak casually," he insists. He leans in, claiming the only thing he remembers is her face. He observes Yan's face with intense focus, searching for a memory that is not there yet. "If I forget you, I would be a failure of a husband," he whispers. Yan's heart thunders against her ribs. Is it terror or something else? She looks like she is enjoying it, but she tells herself it is only fear. Chu-ja watches them, sensing the chilling aura between the pair. Yan must unmask Cha-woo's identity before exhaustion takes her. Evading that dangerous predator all day has drained her soul. If he recovers, her life becomes an eternal waking nightmare. The doctor's orders were clear. Never leave the monster's side. Why must she obey a command that feels like death? This was only supposed to last until the killer surfaced. Cha Wu begs at her door, desperate for proof he exists. This man once crushed steel doors like they were paper. Yet now, he stands paralyzed before her fragile wooden door. Her lies about his kindness have chained the beast within. She claims she's showering just to keep him at bay. He retreats, showing a haunting and dark sense of obedience. She's tamed him for now, but his parting words linger. Why did his voice sound like a final, tragic goodbye? Sleep offers no escape, only nightmares of his obsidian eyes. Days later, she finds the beast lost in deep slumber. Chuja finds him handsome, unaware of the danger he exudes. Chuja ignores every warning, fueled by dangerous curiosity. She teases Yan, accusing her of falling for his beauty. Yan's face flushes with a mix of shame and terror. She drags Chuja away before the sleeping monster can awaken. Chuja lingers, captivated by his deceptive and angelic sleeping face. A week of silence passes, yet Yan's heart remains heavy. His haunting final words replay in her mind like a curse. Did he know he would fall into this death-like sleep? Peace is a fragile illusion. Shadows are already closing in. A bone-chilling scream shatters the night. The nightmare returns. Chuja rushes in, finding Yan trembling in the cold dark. Just a bad dream, Yan lies, her voice shaking uncontrollably. Chuja lets it slide, unaware of the trauma Yan hides. While the world rests, Yan's anxiety demands she works harder. Every idle second feels like an invitation for certain disaster. She obsesses over a dying tree, sensing a hidden malice. Chuja's pleas for rest are ignored. Yan is driven wild. She readies herself, fueled by a strange and desperate frustration. Today must be normal, she prays, masking her inner turmoil. Hours later, she enters the city, hunting for the truth. She confronts the shopkeeper, her gaze as sharp as steel. He demands she leave, but Yan won't back down now. She exposes his cruelty as a curious crowd begins gathering. Panicked, the man tries to silence her before it escalates. He drags the argument outside, desperate to save his reputation. Why do you care about a simple tree? He spits. He whispers a lethal threat. Her world is about to crumble. Yan's voice trembles with raw emotion, risking her entire hospital's future just to protect one helpless tree. To the greedy shop owner, that living landmark is merely an obstacle blocking his restaurant sign. She sees the truth he ignores. It isn't just wood and leaves, but a soul fighting for breath. In this cold world, humans play God, deciding which lives are precious and which are simply discarded. Those roots, clinging desperately to the earth, remind Yan of her own lonely childhood struggles for survival. Tears blur her vision as she demands to know what gives him the right to be an executioner. As night falls, the silence feels deafening after a day filled with such chaotic and soul-crushing noise. Is it pure exhaustion or a heavy heart? Sleep has become a luxury she can no longer afford. Her wish for a quiet week was granted, yet the man remained trapped in a death-like slumber. She craved peace, but now the chilling stillness of the night feels like a suffocating, heavy shroud. Just as her mind spirals into dark thoughts, a violent crash shatters the heavy silence of the house. The sound echoes from the second floor, drawing her toward the danger she's forced to call home. There lies Cha Wu, paralyzed by sleep, with tears streaming down his face like a broken child. She wonders if this is karma being haunted by the blood on his hands, even within his nightmares. Her heart stops when he begins to plead, begging for someone to hide him from the darkness. In this vulnerable moment, his lethal beauty becomes a haunting mask that clouds her every judgment. He looks like wounded prey. Against her better judgment, she reaches out to wipe away his sorrow. She whispers that tears are useless, a lesson she learned the hard way in her own dark past. Long ago, her own cries went unanswered, with only silent flowers to witness her lonely, secret grief. Like the salted earth of that dying tree, this man's soul tastes of bitter and suppressed tears. A chilling realization hits her. These nightmares are the very chains keeping him from waking up now. It's a dangerous gamble, yet she finds herself climbing into bed to anchor him to reality. Today is my birthday, she whispers, two broken souls finding a strange, fleeting comfort in the dark. The morning sun brings a miracle. The doctor's touch has finally broken his eternal, ghostly trance. Cha Wu stirs, his senses dull, until he feels the warmth of another body beside him. Terror flares in his eyes until they land on Yan, who is still peacefully asleep nearby. She is his savior, his wife, and the only anchor in his shattered and empty memory. Fragments of their time together burn through his mind. He's become obsessed with her every move. And yet, a shadow of doubt lingers behind his intense and predatory gaze. Why does she look so afraid? And why is her finger missing the mark of their union? The house is a ghost of a marriage, no photos, no laughter, and a door that remains sealed. The ultimate question haunts him. Did she truly love him enough to wait through 2 long years? The fragile peace shatters as Yan opens her eyes to find him watching her with intense focus. Instead of a scream, she meets his gaze with a heavy heart, sensing a shift between them. He shakes off the stiffness of his long sleep, demanding to know how much time slipped away. When she says it's been 8 days, he realizes she now holds the keys to his mornings. To the world, they are a perfect match. But Yan feels the noose of marriage tightening. Cha-woo senses her fear. He knows his beautiful wife is looking for a way to escape, but his obsession has already taken root. He will never allow her to leave his side again. He'll invade every corner of her life, for she is the only piece of himself he has. Her ordinary world is crumbling. As the morning sun rises, the reality of her entrapment sets in. While discussing hospital business, she feels his piercing gaze lurking like a predator in the dark shadows. He feels her discomfort instantly, his instincts already honed to track her every single heartbeat. To her, he looks like a stranger, a wolf in sheep's clothing erasing his past to stay. With his new look in civil clothes, he's no longer just a patient, he's her permanent shadow. She desperately tried to keep his darkness hidden, but fate had other plans. Now, thanks to Chua's interference, her dangerous husband insisted on joining the meeting. Panic surged through Yan. How could she possibly maintain her web of lies with so many eyes watching them? Worse yet, the risk of Chu's memories returning loomed over her like a death sentence. She had to stop this. Her plan was simple: convince the monster to stay home and rest. But Chu sensed her hesitation, asking if she truly doubted him. Yan masked her fear with a lie, realizing he was already onto her. Scrambling for an excuse, she claimed the outside world was far too dangerous for someone like him. His curiosity piqued, but Yan's reason caught him off guard. He was simply too handsome for his own good. In a burst of desperate energy, she reached her breaking point. She screamed that jealous old men would surely target him. The room fell deathly silent, leaving Yan wondering if she'd gone too far. Miraculously, her plan worked. Chu actually believed she was just a possessive wife trying to hide her treasure. It was a total misunderstanding, but Yan leaned into the role, begging him to stay safely tucked away at home. He smiled, convinced she wanted him all to herself. Yan didn't correct him. It was better than the bloody truth. She whispered about their interrupted honeymoon phase, claiming their new marriage deserved privacy. If he stayed, he demanded she stay too. That was impossible for her career, and the tension between them thickened. Finally, he made a chilling promise. He would be her shadow and obey her every command while they were out. His smooth, seductive tone left Yan breathless. She was losing herself in the very man she feared. Their intense moment was shattered by Chua, who dryly announced it was finally time for them to depart. This was Chu's first public appearance at the prestigious Grand Hate meeting regarding the massive White Project bid. The hall was packed with powerful men, most of whom viewed Yan with cold disdain. As she passed, toxic whispers filled the air, mocking her youth and her mourning, widow-like aura. While they hated her, they couldn't help but admire Chua's timeless elegance and growing beauty. In an industry of aging men, 2 women running a tree hospital was a magnet for bitter jealousy. Sensing the suffocating hostility, Cha-woo reached out and firmly grasped Yan's hand. With a calm, terrifying politeness, he offered to remove the eyes or tongues of anyone bothering her. Just one signal. Yan's heart hammered against her ribs. She could already see the gruesome headlines of the massacre he'd cause. Terrified, she begged Chae-woo to stop, insisting his dark jokes were anything but funny. Her sudden sternness left the killer confused. Was he not being helpful? He looked at her with a mix of blind devotion and chilling innocence. Looking into those eyes, the monster suddenly felt strangely inhuman. Gaining courage, Yan reminded him of his oath. He would only act with her permission. She squeezed his hand tight. That simple touch tamed the beast. But as Chu calmed down, Yan realized the entire room had gone silent. Every gaze in the hall was fixed on them, captivated by the strange energy between her and Cha-woo. Sudden bells saved them as the host called for all participants to enter the main conference hall. As Yan moved toward the stage, Chua and Chae-woo waved her off with supportive smiles. Her palm tingled with a strange heat. Was she actually absorbing the warmth of a killer? The presentation began, showcasing a project so ambitious and beautiful it left even Yan in awe. The stakes were legendary. The winner would run Korea's greatest botanical garden and gain elite, high society clients. Outraged voices rose from the crowd, questioning why such a massive bid was being handled like a common auction. The host stood his ground with absolute authority. He demanded only the most elite tree doctor for this once-in-a-lifetime project. With rare, priceless flora on the line, They couldn't trust a mediocre doctor. Yan felt the weight of his words. The doctors would now have to survive a brutal, filmed competition to prove their worth. The reward was a massive 10-year contract that would change any hospital's destiny forever. A wave of excitement and greed swept through the room, making the air vibrate with tension. But Yan felt only a cold weight in her chest. She had no intention of joining this deadly game. Exposure is her nightmare. She fears being filmed and exposed. Chae-woo wonders why. But Yan just craves a peaceful, quiet life. Their debate is cut short when a familiar voice calls out. It is Jian, claiming he missed her despite living in the area. His smile hides a bruised ego, while Yan clearly despises him. Meet the director of 𝒂𝒓𝒊𝒅𝒏𝒕𝒂𝒍𝒍𝒚 Hospital and his disciple approaching them now. That face, it is Hang Jo-a-yoon, the man she never wanted to see. Jian, oblivious, pushes them together, suggesting they rekindle their old friendship. Yan is paralyzed. How can he smile while suggesting such a nightmare? Flashback to her intern days, trapped at the bottom of a toxic hierarchy. She endured every humiliation just to secure her future and own hospital. But Jo-yun, that bespectacled creep, made her life a living hell. He watched her every move, desperate to control her very existence. Jian ignored her pleas then, yet acts like her savior today. How audacity! Chua, unaware of the trauma, leaves Yan alone with that monster. As he reaches out, Yan flees into Chae-woo's protective arms. He fears this stranger might be a friend from his lost past. Yan quickly denies it. He is just a senior from her internship days. Jo-yoon glares in disbelief, demanding to know Chae-woo's identity. Chae-woo grins, forcing Yan to introduce him as her live-in partner. The creep's obsession flares. He is shaken. Is she actually married? Yan is trapped in a corner. Her attempt at ambiguity backfires, leaving her speechless and sweating in panic. Chae-woo leans in, urging her to simply confirm the truth. He takes charge, declaring himself her husband, but Jo-yoon refuses to believe. He scoffs, claiming Yan is far too cold to ever choose marriage. In his twisted mind, she is just a woman obsessed with fertilizer. He believes only he can tolerate her. What a delusional nightmare. Yan realizes he is still the same narcissist who demands her submission. Disgust boils within her. This is exactly why she loathes him so much. Enough, she fires back, declaring how much she has thrived without him. She is a proud wife and a successful hospital director now. She is no longer his subordinate, but Jo-yoon's ego rejects reality. Driven by spite, he demands to see her official family registration. Before Yan can speak, Chae-woo's aura shifts. Shut up, or I'll kill you. The predator within awakens as Chae-woo prepares to strike the creep. Yan stops the slaughter, dragging Chae-woo away before things turn bloody. Outside, she gasps they narrowly escaped becoming tomorrow's front-page scandal. Safe for now, she confronts him. Why would he threaten a life? She needs to know if he is truly dangerous, but he apologizes. It is not an apology she wants, but the truth of his ferocity. His confession is chilling. Hearing him say your name made me boil. He wanted to rip that man's mouth off. Chae-woo must remain hidden, but then he reveals he saw her tears. Her pain is his. Their emotions are now one. As they drive home, his obsession grows. Yan knows the truth. One wrong move, and his hidden darkness will explode. She must stay calm in his presence. The person holding a beast's leash needs total courage. Controlling a monster requires a heart of steel and unwavering nerves. Returning home, Yan declares her entry into the competition. It's for the trees, and for her sweet revenge against her former workplace. Her words burn with fierce determination. Chae-woo serves tea as Chua questions her sudden change of heart. Yan was terrified of being filmed, but now she's willing to gamble. She hopes for an early elimination before the cameras start rolling. Chuja gives her full support. Though she fears the lens, Yan's grudge fuels her spirit. This is a vital step toward becoming the woman she needs to be. Night falls as the discussion ends. Yan and Chua see her off, leaving her alone with Chu. He looks at her with deep regret. He apologizes for his lack of expertise in her field. Yan reassures him with a gentle smile, telling him it's perfectly fine. She mentions he was always that way, but her own words trigger a sharp memory. Yan asks Chae-woo a question, instantly wishing she could take it back. She gathers her courage to ask her request. From now on, she wants him to focus only on happy and beautiful things. The air grows heavy with warmth. Chu admits that keeping such a promise will be an easy task. Their gazes lock in a moment of soul-piercing intensity. The atmosphere turns dangerously intimate. Feeling the heat, Yan clumsily escapes, claiming she needs a shower before heading to bed. She thinks she's safe, until Chu asks if he should bathe her. Her brain short-circuits as her heart skips a beat. She lets out a startled cry of shock. Chu looks confused. After all, isn't this what devoted married couples do? Panicked, Yan retreats into her moral shell. She claims her reaction is due to her incredibly conservative and strict upbringing. She was taught that men and women must remain separate after the age of 7. She grew up with a warped view of the world, and she never dared to correct it. When he asks if this applies to him, she stands her ground. Marriage isn't an all-access pass to her body and space. Chu asks what marriage actually means. Then, Yan has no answer. She falls into a stunned silence, letting him lead the conversation. He begs her to teach him. Caught between her lies and his amnesia, he feels like a shadow of the husband he was. If he cannot care for his wife, he fears he's losing his entire purpose in this world. He notes his own insignificance. Why else would she leave him alone to sleep for an entire week without a word? His words pierce through her guilt. She wonders why his intellect only sharpens when it's time to trap her emotionally. Usually, he acts like a loyal puppy, but when it comes to her, he transforms into a calculating genius. Yan feels the storm she created is finally about to pull her under. She must maintain her composure. Flushed with shyness, she sheepishly argues that letting him bathe her would be entirely wrong. He disagrees completely. In his mind, they've already shared much more intimate and darker moments together. Once again, his raw and unfiltered honesty leaves her feeling completely exposed. Ignorant of her shock, he claims their lack of intimacy is just due to a habit of being too righteous. He wants to break those walls. He asks her to let her guard down, but she finds herself utterly unable to argue back. He successfully weaponized her own lies against her. Left with no exit, she's forced to surrender to his demand. She knows this predator won't back down easily. He has locked onto his target with obsessive focus. To prevent him from demanding more, she offers a compromise. He can wash her back, but nothing more than that. Little does she know, this choice will haunt her. She heads to the shower, bracing herself for his touch. Stripping away her clothes, she mentally prepares for the ordeal. She must endure this for the sake of her lie. She tells herself she can handle this small sacrifice. But as Chae-woo enters the steam, panic surges through her. She realizes the gravity of her choice as she stands there, completely vulnerable and exposed. Her heart hammers against her ribs like a caged bird. Still, she allows his hands to reach for her. Fortunately for Yan, that scandalous scene was merely playing out in his mind. In reality, she waits for him to start. She orders him to use the scrub towel on her back, but as he reaches out, his eyes lock onto a mysterious scar. Overcome with curiosity, his fingers trace the mark, desperate to know its dark origin. The touch brings back a haunting memory from long ago. Yan had forgotten the mark existed, assuring him it was nothing, despite the visible tension on her face. Chu senses a painful secret behind the flesh. He pushes her for a real explanation. Yet, she keeps her lips sealed. Seeing her pained expression, he realizes this is a wound that goes far deeper than the skin. He's stunned when she reveals the cruel truth: those scars were carved by her own blood family. Rage boils within him as he calls them absolute trash. Yet she remains strangely silent. She defends their cruelty, leaving Chae-woo stunned. A man with his bloody past knows there is no excuse. A bittersweet smile touches her lips as she whispers that such pain is just a side effect of love. Her words aren't meant for him, not yet. But his fractured memory twists her words, making him feel like the very villain she fears. He recalls his own predatory instincts upon waking, her terrified trembling, and her absolute dread of his touch. A chilling realization hits him. The original Chae-woo was a monster, and he is a monster too. Oblivious to his inner turmoil, Yan continues, claiming that love and hatred are two sides of one blade. Humans aren't selfless trees. They demand a harvest for their devotion, and rage erupts when no fruit grows. Finally, she breaks the heavy atmosphere. She demands a scrub towel, teasing that his hands are too soft, but he fears hurting her scars. To him, her skin is like fragile porcelain that might shatter or bruise under his rough killer's grip. She insists on the bath, but a stubborn Chae-woo suggests they find another way to pass the time. Fear flashes in her eyes until he clarifies he simply wants them to play around like a normal couple. He desires a moment of simple intimacy. Confused, she watches him reach for her back, her mind drifting to when he first asked about her pain. In all her life, no one had ever bothered to ask why she was so broken. To everyone else, her scars were just a natural part of her ruined, miserable existence. Since her homeless childhood, everyone labeled her as trash, until fate twisted her path toward him once again. She can feel his genuine warmth now, remembering the day he first noticed her stifled, silent tears. She never thought her own sorrow was worth noticing. His vow that no one deserves violence makes her wonder if she actually deserves a life without pain. Yan suddenly splashes him in frustration, and Chae-woo quickly moves to rinse the stinging soap from her eyes. After their bath, the makeshift couple head upstairs, Yan feeling a dangerous sense of peace washing over her. He whispers a question, asking if she's tired, and she realizes she finally feels safe enough to sleep. Sharing a bed no longer feels like a death sentence. She softly whispers goodnight, and he breathes it back. But as the darkness settles, she wonders if this domestic bliss is just a beautiful, fleeting dream. A morning of walking together, a night of sharing a room. Chayu is complicated, but perhaps he isn't evil. Just as sleep claims her, a sudden memory jolts her upright, her heart hammering against her ribs. Panic surges. She's horrified that she's grown comfortable with the very man who almost took her life. Calling herself a fool, she glares at him, reminding her heart that Chayu is a lethal, terrifying predator. Across the bed, the confused man watches her, worried that her old wounds have started to ache in the night. Their gazes collide in the moonlight, and her conscience screams at her to remember the monster he is. She refuses to let her guard down, hitting herself to wake up from this dangerous, romantic fantasy. He watches her erratic behavior in silence before finally grabbing her wrists to stop her self-inflicted pain. He demands to know what changed, asking with chilling intensity if he was the one who made her uncomfortable. She screams internally that his piercing eyes and haunting voice are the real problem. She regrets ever meeting him on that fateful, bloody night, and turns away with a cold, sharp glare. Though his temper flares, he remains eerily calm, whispering a plea for her to just look at him. He thinks he's getting through to her, but she violently wrenches herself away from his suffocating grasp. His patience snaps, and his voice turns dark, asking if she's only brave because she's never been broken. With a sudden, predatory flash, he bites her, ignoring her desperate pleas for him to stop. The obsessive monster has returned, and she gasps, wondering if his memories have finally awakened his killer instincts. That single question confirms his fatal error. Yet, she isn't finished with him. She repeats the chilling inquiry. In the heavy silence, a strange guilt consumes him. Yan's eyes are filled with terror. To her, the monster known as Cha Wu has truly returned. She braces for the worst. Finally, he speaks, claiming his memories are still lost. He blames his sudden outburst on a momentary lapse in sanity. A mere mistake, he insists. Admitting his fault, he offers a cold apology. His penance? Sleeping in a separate room tonight. He vows to vanish from her sight for months if it eases her heart. Is this not what she desires? Then why does she call out to him? This woman is an enigma he cannot solve. Yan leaps from the bed to pursue him. She is desperate to stop his cold departure. He freezes her with a warning. If he catches her scent, sleeping in separate rooms won't save her. Pain laces his voice as his eyes well with tears. He is dead serious about this distance. She relents, directing him to the second floor. If he intends to hide, let it be there. He slams the door, cutting her off. How can she endure this life of constant tension? And so, Chu sinks into a deep, restless slumber for the third time. Days later, a young boy approaches Yan's tree hospital, his nose buried in a book. Lost in his reading, he fails to notice the shadow trailing behind him. Inside, Yan points out the official announcement for the legendary High Dome Project tournament. The challenge is insane. Contestants must trim a tree towering 30 meters high. No ladders, no lifts. The sheer absurdity of the rule makes the ladies burst into laughter. This criteria is madness. Chua is ready to call the organizers and demand an explanation. That is a 10-story drop. To her, this competition feels more like a death sentence. Yan calms her down. This isn't just about trees. It's a test of pure courage and endurance. But why forbid tools? They aren't stranded on a deserted island, for heaven's sake. Their debate is so heated that they miss the little boy listening from the shadows. He nearly enters, but curiosity pulls him toward a mysterious, quiet room. There, he finds Chu in a deep sleep. Stunned by his massive size, the boy edges closer. Suddenly, Yan bursts in. "𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒊𝒅𝒏𝒕𝒂𝒍𝒍𝒚," she exclaims in a panic. She quickly ushers him away. "This room is far too dangerous for a child," she warns. 𝒂𝒄𝒄 disagrees. To him, Cha Wu is a rare, powerful predator built for the hunt. This young boy is the hospital's unofficial expert on all things wild, and he knows a dangerous beast when he sees one. Cha Wu is lethal. Yan defends him, but the boy knows better. All strong males are dangerous. He isn't wrong. Neglect at home has sharpened his instincts. He sees the world as a survival game. Yan tries to explain, humans might be mammals, but we aren't just wild animals. Her lesson is cut short. She spots Jo Yoon lurking at the window. "What are you doing here?" He followed the boy inside, but 𝒂𝒄𝒄 isn't impressed. He sees Jo Yoon as a ruined, unpleasant male. The insult stings Jo Yoon, yet nobody offers any sympathy. Yan tells the boy to wait. She confronts the intruder, threatening to call the police immediately. He scoffs at her threats. "Tell me," he demands, "Is that boy your son?" She senses his suspicion. Choosing chaos, she lets him believe the lie. Is 𝒂𝒄𝒄 her son? Horror grips him. Did she vanish years ago just to hide a secret pregnancy? He won't listen to reason. She was fired because of him. Yet he remains blinded by the belief the boy is hers. He feels like a fool. He remembered her as so strict, so unreachable back then. How did he let his guard down? How could she have a child in secret? Heartbroken and enraged, he demands the truth. "We're going to the registry now. He needs proof." Yan ignores his pathetic pleas, reporting the home invasion to the police. She demands an immediate response, describing a crazed intruder causing a chaotic scene. Being labeled a stalker only fuels Jo-yun's frantic, aggressive outbursts. He plays the victim, blaming her for the tension while demanding the marriage certificate. He sneers at her cold defiance, but her gaze remains sharp and unyielding. She sees through his facade. His obsession isn't love, just a sick, lingering hunger. He views her as easy prey, but his pathetic rambling now falls on deaf ears. 2 years of living on the edge have finally forged her into steel. After surviving the deadly world of Cha Woo, this petty stalker is nothing. Losing patience, she threatens him with force, ordering him to vanish from her life. She drops a chilling warning. Her new husband is a monster he shouldn't provoke. She recalls their first meeting, warning that her husband is a beast who buries threats. One more step, and he'll face a predator far more dangerous than himself. She retreats inside, leaving Jo-yoon stunned by the cold authority in her voice. This isn't the fragile girl he once controlled. Her submission has turned into defiance. Did her newfound boldness bloom in his absence? He realized he'd underestimated her transformation. As the curtains close, his obsession darkens. He'll force her back into her cage. Trapped between a killer husband and a relentless stalker, Yan's life is a living nightmare. Jo-yoon escalates his twisted game, forcing Yoon to seek help from the authorities. The police are skeptical, but she feels his shadow everywhere, 3 sightings in one day. To the officers, it's just a series of coincidences, not a targeted campaign. Daily roses appear like a curse, yet his perfect alibi keeps him above suspicion. Without hard evidence, their hands are tied, leaving Yan defenseless and desperate for escape. She pleads for protection, but her history of trauma makes the officers doubt her reality. They remember her past the false murder report that ruined her credibility years ago. The very crime she buried to protect Cha Woo now haunts her once again. But the real shock comes when she learns his criminal record is spotless. Shaken and isolated, she retreats to the only monster who can truly protect her. Exhausted, she contemplates waking the sleeping giant, but Chuja warns of the heavy price. To rouse the killer is to invite a storm back into her heart. She must sacrifice her fear. She can't rely on him while keeping him at bay. To gain his protection, she must embrace him as more than just a cold-blooded assassin. He is a blank slate now, a dangerous void waiting for a new purpose. If she can't accept his new self, she should leave the devil to sleep. She fought to keep her distance, terrified of loving the monster she once feared. She curses her own selfishness, craving the warmth of the man she tried to reject. He is her ultimate shield against the stalker. But can she truly trust a killer? Finally, the choice becomes clear amidst the deepening shadows. She'll bet everything on his devotion, deciding to trust his heart over his blood-stained past. Her resolve hardens as the clock strikes midnight, her mind finally set on her path. A shadow appears, Jo-yun, whispering a chilling lie through the glass. "You have no husband." At that exact moment, Cha Woo's eyes snap open, filled with a sudden, tragic clarity. Yan wakes beside him. The nightmare was just a cruel trick of the mind. Her wish is granted. The frozen killer has finally returned to the land of the living. With his eyes finally open, he searches for freedom, wondering why her sharp tongue has gone silent. She watches his tearful joy, while he only notices her becoming dangerously thin. Now, they both care more for each other than their own lives. 8 days of hellish nightmares. What could make a monster like him cry? She left him alone within those dark, suffocating nightmares. Guilt strikes. Young begins to sob, igniting Cha's protective and deadly concern. Her composure finally crumbles into pieces. She confesses everything, including how the stalker, Joy, evaded her every trap. His eyes darken with rage as he demands to know her tormentor. His intense, burning gaze anchors her, allowing the terrifying truth to flow. Chu realizes Yan's agony. He's ready to handle the filth for her. She fears she's being shameless, but his heart holds no such judgment. He pulls her into a warm embrace, offering her first scrap of validation. The authorities dismissed her, leaving her alone. Where the law failed, Chu steps in to claim her heavy burden. Looking at those glowing eyes, it's clear Jo-yoon has sparked a war. Chae-woo prepares to hunt, his bloodlust barely contained by Yan's soft touch. He sees only a pathetic insect. She reveals the shock. The human bug has already been thoroughly captured. He is genuinely impressed by how professionally she has bound their prey. She mastered these lethal knots for a day like this, a can of pepper spray. The perfect weapon to blind a human pest. She blinded him before delivering a crushing strike with a heavy shovel. That strike felt like death, fueling Chae-woo's dark, obsessive admiration. Yan finally snapped after the filth dared to invade her private sanctuary. He marvels at her precision. Even in rage, her hands remain steady. Their casual banter terrifies the captive. He's trapped with two beautiful monsters. None of them are ordinary. And his nightmare is only just beginning. Cha-woo takes control, urging Yan to find peace in her sleep. She isn't handing him over out of spite or simple, raw fury. She wants to prove that Joan is facing her one true husband. She begs for no blood, and Chae-woo smiles with a chilling promise. His calm reason convinces her that Chuja was right about him. He is a hollow vessel, waiting to be filled by her will. But his regret remains. This house isn't the ideal place for murder. Terror returns as he promises only a lesson instead of a shallow grave. He ushers her away, masking the darkness. Jo-yoon's muffled pleas go ignored, as his only hope for mercy departs. Abandoned, he finally faces the cold, predatory eyes of a lethal killer. Cha-woo leans in, whispering a demand for the stalker's secret hideout. He cannot offer a single response. He prepares to extract the truth, forgetting his victim's lips are sealed. Deciding to guess, he drags the struggling man into the cold night. Despair sinks in as they arrive at his exact, secret hideout building. Horrified, he watches as Chu prepares to unveil his terrifying, lethal genius. He coldly explains that from the very first moment he stepped outside, he knew that house was a hunter's nest. He predicted the stalker would hide there, and his deadly intuition was flawless. With a chilling smirk, he mocks Jo-yoon's pathetic carelessness. Doing something so filthy required much better acting. He warns that playing the fool leads to ruin. It is better to live as a submissive dog. Cha-woo's demonic smile sends a wave of pure terror through him. Jo-yoon realizes being dragged inside means certain death. He desperately scans the dark street for a single soul. Miraculously, a lone figure appears, walking casually through the midnight silence. He screams for his savior, begging for mercy, but the stranger remains chillingly silent. The man simply watches before vanishing into the shadows, leaving Jo-yoon to Cha-woo's dark mercy. This was no random stranger. He's been a silent observer of Yan and Cha-woo for 2 long years. Seeing his target up close after all this time makes his heart swell with dark joy. This is his true young master. Seeing him dispose of such trash confirms his memory is truly gone. His hands are far too precious to be soiled by filth. Even as a fool, Cha-woo is a monster. He knows Cha-woo can crush bugs like Jo-yoon easily, but he decides to sweep up the remaining dust. He makes a call, identifying himself as Bom-hee. By dawn, Yen finally wakes from a deep slumber. It had been ages since she felt such peace within her own 4 walls. Then, reality hits. The terrifying memory of leaving Jo-yoon alone with a killer floods back. Letting out a panicked scream, she frantically rushes downstairs to find him. She finds him calmly trimming flowers. His task finished just as she arrives with a warm welcome. His gentle inquiry about her night makes her recent terrors feel like a distant, feverish dream. When asked, he simply smiles, just practicing my flower arrangements. He's desperate to reclaim his routine, longing for the normalcy of their everyday life together. She plays along, but guilt gnaws at her heart. Suddenly, Cha-woo leans in, asking to tie her hair. She hesitates. She claims she's a mess, but he insists. He just wants to feel her soft hair. She eventually yields. As his hands move, she remembers long ago, watching others receive the affection she was always denied. Suddenly, his voice breaks the silence. Jo-yoon won't be bothering you ever again. He tells her to relax as he finishes her hair, declaring her absolutely breathtaking. She dismisses the praise, but he leans closer. Her beauty, he says, could drive anyone to madness. Her heart blazes with heat. Sensing her fluster, he softly asks if she's hungry. He's already prepared a feast, knowing she'd wake up with an appetite after her long rest. They sit together like a devoted couple. Over breakfast, he asks about her plans for the day. When she mentions the neglected chores, he immediately offers his help with a charming smile. She's stunned by his eagerness, unsure if inviting this predator into her chores is wise. Surprisingly, his presence feels right. She wonders if this domestic grace existed before his darkness took over. Every movement he makes is perfectly natural. Yet, she can't imagine this man as a servant. While she ponders his past, his own thoughts darken. He wonders if her care back then was genuine or merely a mask for her fear. Regardless, he craves her touch. He is utterly obsessed with the intensity of her gaze. Curious, He plucks a flower. He asks if she's ever tasted the nectar, urging her to show him. He wants to consume everything. He hands her the bloom, his eyes demanding a quick lesson. She complies, but his hunger is far from satisfied by her demonstration. He whispers the correct way to do it, commanding her to try once more. She feels him toying with her, yet she finds herself unable to resist his dark magnetism. Realizing he's just teasing her, she sees him stifling a laugh. She playfully protests his wicked sense of humor. He's fixated on her every move, even the way she eats. As she explains her habits, his gaze softens with curiosity. The conversation shifts. It's no longer about simple things, but a dangerous, long-awaited intimacy between them. She's fought this pull for so long, yet tonight, her resistance finally crumbles against his overwhelming presence. Even as she pleads that they're just friends, his heated touch says otherwise. He demands she erase the past and focus only on the man before her. A tidal wave of emotion crashes over her soul. One moment of weakness is all it takes to be swept away by his intoxicating darkness. Panicking before the point of no return, she snaps back to reality and feigns total ignorance like a blockhead. She plays the fool, blaming her own clumsiness for the ruined mood. He just watches her with knowing eyes. He sees through her act but lets it slide, warning her that he expects true loyalty from his wife starting now. It's a cold reminder of their forced vows before he steps out to clear his head in the yard. With a parting smirk, he tells her to be better prepared for their next heated encounter. "Next time you jump me, make sure you have a better excuse," he taunts. Left alone, Jan gasps for air, thanking the heavens she survived that suffocating tension. Her heart has never raced like this before. These terrifying, electric feelings were never supposed to be part of her world. But nightfall brings a new torment. She's forced back into the lion's den, sharing a blanket with him once more. Sharing a bed with a man who nearly devoured her feels like pure psychological torture. He remains chillingly calm. His morning kindness feels like a total hallucination compared to the predatory man from the night before. She stares, trying to decode him, until he catches her gaze and assumes she wants his attention. In the silence of the bedroom, he misreads her lingering look as an invitation to get closer. She quickly stammers an excuse, claiming insomnia is the only reason she's still watching him. The beast is curious. He demands a story of their past, specifically how they first met. Jan must weave a web of lies, desperately trying to bury the bloody truth of their first encounter. She crafts a fairy tale about a mountain meeting and a lost item he kindly returned. He mocks the cliché, asking if it was a delicate handkerchief that sparked their supposed destiny. In reality, it was a power saw. To him, she lies and calls it a simple comb. He gazes at her with an unreadable intensity, claiming he's simply glad fate led him to that mountain. Yan, however, curses the day she ever crossed paths with him on those slopes. Sensing more dangerous questions coming, she knows she has to end this interrogation fast. Faking exhaustion, she forces the lights out, desperate to escape his piercing eyes in the dark. But the darkness reveals his tears. Seeing this monster weep shatters her resolve and fills her with a confusing pity. Yan can't fathom what could make a killer cry so bitterly in his sleep. Seeking to soothe his tortured soul, she finds a classical track, hoping music can silence his inner demons. The melody transforms his nightmare into a fleeting memory of his mother and a cello. To her shock, the music works. The monster's tears finally stop as he drifts away into peace. Watching his calm breathing, she finds herself strangely wishing for his tranquility for the first time. Her feelings are a mess, but this moment of care feels undeniably right. Days pass, and the high-stakes evaluation for the massive High Dome project finally arrives. The challenge is insane. Prune a 30-meter tree with no ladders and no safety lifts. Their rivals from Green Hospital arrive, led by directors who radiate a hidden, dangerous pressure. The air crackles with hostility as Yan locks eyes with her opponent. This is war. She refuses to lose before facing the giants of Dongseo Tree Hospital. But just as the mission begins, she realizes her vital climbing rope is missing. She spots Jae-woo holding it. He stares her down, his silent fury more terrifying than the height. To him, this isn't a job. He won't let his wife walk into a death trap. Yaeon insists her safety gear is enough, demanding her rope back, but he stubbornly refuses to budge. She begs desperately until the hospital director intervenes, using the elder's authority to back her claim. Climbing is a daily ritual for tree doctors, requiring a level of strength most people can't imagine. Realizing he's just ignorant of her craft, she lectures him until the veteran specialist finally yields. Those branches are far too slick for him to conquer. He attempts to dismantle her logic, while Chua pressures her to abandon the dangerous climb. Leaving means losing the prize, but she'd rather forfeit than see a life lost to this tree. The branches are dangerously unstable. If she doesn't act now, the surrounding forest will perish. so she demands the rope immediately. He offers a cold deal. She can have the rope if she returns to his cage. For Yayan, her sacred duty outweighs any personal fear. This trial is hers to win, and he needs to stop interfering with her path. Their tense standoff snaps when she accidentally questions his audacity to defy her. Shock fills the air as he submissively fastens her gear, denying any intent to challenge her. He asks if she's considered her husband's heart, claiming his fear was just a plea for comfort. His unexpected support fuels her fire while Chua hands over the saw with a grim warning. Looking at the steel, she remembers it once tasted his blood. Yet now he fears for her. His delusions of romance are truly relentless. Swept away by his intensity, she begins her ascent, reaching the canopy with terrifying, expert speed. The crowd watches in breathless silence as she scales the impossible heights. They see a hero, but Yeon suddenly realizes she's paralyzed by the looming abyss below. The sheer altitude was never an issue before, but now her limbs have turned to lead. Terror grips her soul, yet she refuses to leave this mission unfinished. She whispers a prayer to the tree before her foot slips on the treacherous bark. Chua's scream pierces the air, but gravity has already claimed its prize. Falling. The world blurs as Yan prepares for a bone-crushing impact that never comes. She opens her eyes to find a savior she never expected to see. Cha Woo hangs by a single arm, his other hand gripping her waist like iron. He whispers a soft inquiry into her safety while pulling her close to his chest. Instead of gratitude, she erupts in fury. Terrified he climbed this high without any protection. Her rope would have saved her, but he has nothing but his own strength. Why is he so reckless? Yet, he wears a triumphant smile. He cherishes her anger, knowing it's born of love, and leans close to whisper a challenge. His proximity leaves her face burning with a blush. He gives her a choice: retreat together or conquer the summit side by side. Remembering the stakes, she declares they are going all the way to the top. He offers his back, promising to be her hands while she guides his blade. Terrified for his safety, she begs him to descend, but he remains unshakable. His vow to protect her life above his own makes her heart race wildly. Clinging to him, she weeps, swearing her life ends the moment his heart stops. She insists her expertise with the saw is far superior to his brute force. Her fierce protection is the greatest gift he has ever received. He chuckles, telling her to hold tight while he carries her to victory. Before she can protest, he hoists her onto his back with effortless power. She screams as they soar upward, her arms locked tightly around her husband's neck. With the grace of a predator, Cha Woo begins scaling the massive tree effortlessly. Reaching the peak, he demands the saw, ready to follow his wife's frantic commands. Yan is frozen in absolute shock, her mind racing as she stares at him blankly. He mocks his amateur status, forcing her to guide him through the deadly, high-altitude task. She finally relents as the crowd below watches their dangerous dance in breathless awe. Gasps erupt from the spectators as the two begin their high-stakes, legendary performance. Can he really work with her weight on his back? The tension is suffocatingly thick. Clinging to him, Yan whispers instructions, her voice trembling against his cold, strong neck. She urges him to push harder, unknowingly igniting a dark fire in his focused gaze. Her provocative words make his ears burn, a rare blush creeping onto the killer's face. Oblivious to his inner turmoil, Yan focuses solely on finishing their impossible mission together. She shouts for one final push, and with a sharp crack, the branch finally falls. The spectators stand paralyzed. It was a scene straight out of a cinematic action masterpiece. Even rivals bow to their dominance as Yan cheers wildly from his broad, powerful shoulders. Laughing, she praises his hidden talent, unaware of the dangerous man she is touching. His overwhelming power and precise movements leave her heart racing with an unexpected, deep satisfaction. Cha Woo's gaze darkens, his voice low as he praises her surprisingly provocative teaching style. He craves the next lesson, while innocent Yan smiles, blind to his growing obsessive thoughts. The burden is gone, making way for a new, blood-stained fate to slowly take root. Victory is theirs. Yan stands triumphant as the undisputed champion of the grueling tournament. Shock ripples through the group as they gather to celebrate this impossible, legendary win. Chuja vividly recounts the moment Cha Woo became Yan's dark and knight-like savior. He stalked her like a shadow before leaping with the lethal grace of a panther. Yan laughs off the madness, while Cha Woo serves her with a terrifyingly quiet devotion. Yan frantically blocks his drink, terrified that alcohol might awaken his dormant, murderous side. If he can carry you that high, he's a monster, not a sick man. Yan hides her fear. She cannot reveal that a single drop could unleash his killer self. To protect the world from him, Yan downs the liquor in one desperate, shaky gulp. Chuja slams the table in rage, drawing every eye to their chaotic and tense table. Yan declares she will be his shield, drinking every drop to keep his demons buried. He tries to intervene, but she is determined to save him from his own darkness. She defends his soul, refusing to let anyone judge the killer she secretly fears. Her bravery fades fast as the heavy alcohol begins to poison her fragile senses. The world spins into a haze, and Yan feels herself drifting into another surreal realm. A blissful warmth envelopes her as she nuzzles into a solid and comforting presence. Cha-woo struggles to steady her, his patience tested by her chaotic and drunken affection. She realizes this cloud is actually a wall of hard, dangerous, and masculine muscle. He asks why she sacrificed herself for a man she barely even knows yet. "I drank so you wouldn't have to," she whispers, her voice thick with hidden dread. He smirks, wondering if she's simply worried about his health or something far more sinister. The truth slips out. She is terrified of the monster his memories might soon awaken. He freezes, his gaze darkening instantly. "Do you truly want me to remain a ghost?" "Yes," she confesses, shivering against the back of the man who once ruthlessly hunted her. When asked if he had ever drawn her blood, she can only whisper, "Yes, often." Cha-woo feels a surge of self-loathing, realizing he was the monster in her nightmares. He curses the monster he once was, a dark shadow that should never see the light of day again. That beast was lower than dirt and belongs in a shallow grave. Fury burns within him because his past self left Yan to bear all the agony alone. In a voice cracked with pain, he asks why she saved a monster like him. When he plummeted from that peak, she should have let the abyss take him. After all, she is brilliant, breathtaking, and full of life. She deserved everything. So why choose a broken man like him? A hazy Yan recalls that fateful vow made to his brother 2 years ago. She whispers to Cha-woo that their bond is a sacred duty that can never be severed. This is why one must think carefully before signing a life-altering contract. Despite the regret and the agony, she would choose that same path again. Her confession strikes Cha-woo like a physical blow. Believing she speaks of their marriage, his heart swells, feeling as though he is drowning in a sea of unexpected warmth. To her, he is the man who climbed a 30-meter tree just to save her, the one who refused to surrender to despair. Once she commits, her sense of duty is ironclad, even if the man is as dangerous as Cha-woo. Cha-woo realizes that if she intends to stay, this is his golden opportunity, a final chance to salvage their shattered union. With a faint smile, he marvels that even a sinner like him earns redemption. Perhaps the heavens are finally on his side. The next morning, Yan awakens to a throbbing migraine that feels like her skull might literally shatter. She desperately tries to piece together yesterday's events, but her memories fade after she began drinking in Cha-woo's place. A rhythmic splashing from the bathroom makes her heart skip. Is he in the shower? He is a night showerer, so why now? Peeking under the covers, she gasps to find herself in entirely different clothes. Her mind short-circuits as she stares at her outfit. There is no way Cha-woo was the one who changed her, right? Suddenly, the door swings open, and Cha-woo emerges, clad only in a low-hanging towel. He calmly asks if she is finally awake. The sight of his sculpted physique sends Yan into a frenzy, her face turning crimson as her vision begins to blur. Her face glowing like a ripe summer tomato, she retreats behind the safety of the blanket and stammers about last night. He gently assures her that she dressed herself while in a drunken stupor. A wave of relief washes over her. He teases her, noting how she stubbornly insisted on changing alone before shoving him out of the room. But Yan is deaf to his words, her gaze locked on that precarious towel that threatens to drop at any second. Watching him, she wonders if he was always that impressively built down there. Cha-woo continues speaking, asking if she recalls the confession he made during their journey home. She mumbles a distracted question, her eyes still glued to his frame. It feels scandalous, yet she is utterly mesmerized. As he leans onto the bed, he reveals that fragments of his past have returned. Still, Yan cannot tear her eyes away. His words are just background noise until he drops a bombshell. 2 years ago, I tried to end my life. A chilling realization dawns on her as she remembers that fateful night. He wasn't just in danger, he was seeking death. Cha-woo claims his former self perished 2 years ago. Taking her hands, he confesses he never truly wanted to open his eyes again. In his eyes, Yan's original husband is dead and gone. He is a completely different man now. He demands she discard their old rings and incinerate every photograph of the man he used to be. He declares they are starting a new marriage, and he refuses to lose to the ghost of her past. Yan stares at him, dazzled by his radiance. Dropping to his knees, he whispers that since she tamed the beast within him, she must now take responsibility for him forever. As the two sit for breakfast, Yan studies Cha-woo, questioning if his bold declarations were truly genuine. If his memories are surfacing, He should be riddled with questions. So why is he shrouded in such heavy silence? His eerie quietness sends chills down her spine. Unaware that his calm demeanor is merely a calculated mask, driven by curiosity, she asks if there is anything he wants to know, but he simply shakes his head. She wonders how he can be so indifferent to the secrets of his own dark past. Still, she holds her breath. His past is surely linked to the tears he weeps in secret. Cha-woo coldly remarks that his previous self likely chose death out of pure regret. He has yet to uncover his origins, but he is certain that for his past self, death was the only escape. He covers his mouth in disgust, claiming that the mention of her ex-husband makes him sick. Yan is baffled, unaware she already exposed the truth. He asks if his old self was at least wealthy, forcing Yan to lie and claim he was barely scraping by. Cha-woo scoffs, chastising Yan for being far too dutiful and never learning how to take the easy way out. Since she saved a mindless fool, she should have at least learned how to exploit him properly. Yan watches him, stunned. People don't just change, she whispers, doubt rising. Jealousy flares. I am empty, he snaps, so never compare me to him. I'm nothing like your ex, he insists. Yan agrees nervously, hiding her fear. He'll become anything for her, despite sharing her ex-husband's face. Why is he so desperate? I'll erase him from your memory or die. Yan stifles a laugh at his drama, faking a cough to hide it. Chae-woo's smirk returns. There's something I'm curious about, he murmurs coldly. She waits. He asks about the clinic staff. Is it just us? Terror strikes. Did he remember? She waits, her heart pounding wildly. I must know everyone to be your husband. Relieved, she mentions an expert. Suddenly, she realizes. When 𝒂𝒄𝒄 visited before, Chae-woo was still asleep. Now he's awake, a killer and a child. What a dangerous combination. She imagines a predator hunting the innocent boy. Yan? He breaks her trance. She explains the student worker is away at school. You'll meet him eventually. Chae-woo knew a reckoning was coming. But fate's shadow arrived far swifter and more silent than he ever anticipated. While training, a mysterious boy approached, claiming to inspect the director's chosen man, leaving Chae-woo frozen in absolute shock. This small, unexpected intruder suddenly stood before him, shattering Chae-woo's focus in an instant. He cut his workout short, landing with the lethal grace of a predator. Little 𝒂𝒄𝒄 cheered, clearly impressed, while Chae-woo demanded an identity. The child revealed he was a mere first grader from Bayadol. Chae-woo narrowed his eyes, wondering what business a mere child had in his dangerous, deadly world. Without a word, 𝒂𝒄𝒄 unzipped his pack and produced a heavy, mysterious textbook. Squatting low, Chae-woo watched the boy flip pages. Proudly, 𝒂𝒄𝒄 declared that lemurs use floral scents to claim their mates. Chae-woo was baffled. Floral scents? 𝒂𝒄𝒄 insisted that Chae-woo was exuding that very intoxicating pheromone right now. Amused, Chae-woo scoffed, claiming his only scent was the sweat of a man who lives on the edge. 𝒂𝒄𝒄 assumed Chae-woo was younger than Yan, but the truth that they were equals sent the boy into a panic. This was a disaster. If they were the same age, Chae-woo's scent would spoil, leaving him trapped in confusion. The child lectured him. Younger males possess a far more alluring and deadly lure than the seasoned ones. Face-palming, 𝒂𝒄𝒄 muttered about old junk and impending doom. Chae-woo couldn't help but find the little spy hilariously strange. 𝒂𝒄𝒄 warned that Yan was popular. Chae-woo's instincts flared as the boy counted 3 high-level rivals already circling her. With a grim look, he told Chae-woo his efforts must double to survive this obsessive race. Suddenly, Yan appeared, her voice cutting through the air. She rushed to 𝒂𝒄𝒄, her heart racing with worry for his safety. Fearing a confrontation, she checked for trouble. Chae-woo simply grabbed the bag, claiming the boy was teaching him vital lessons. Panic seized Yan instantly. 𝒂𝒄𝒄 chirped that he was merely training the man to be a better husband. She tried to introduce 𝒂𝒄𝒄 formally, but the boy smugly announced that he had already laid everything bare to Chae-woo. Chae-woo smirked, promising to rely on the boy. They shook hands, sealing a pact where the child became his boss. Yan stood paralyzed, watching this strange bond form. What terrifying world had she truly stepped into? Ian apologizes for the boy's behavior, but Chu's silence in the dark car is far more terrifying. She tries to explain that GB is just a child, driven by his own obsessive and stubborn nature. Chu notes the boy is just like him, his predatory gaze fixed solely on Yan as she drives. Feeling suffocated, Ian demands he watch the road, but he refuses to look away from his captive bride. She warns him of a fatal crash, yet death seems like a small price for his obsessive attention. He finally looks away, but his sudden demand for an ID sends a fresh wave of panic through her. Paralyzed by fear, Ian loses her grip on the wheel as the car swerves into a violent collision. Everything blurs as they stop, the crushing momentum throwing Ian forward toward the dashboard. In a heartbeat, Chu shields her with his own hand, his protective obsession flaring amidst the wreckage. Cha's arm brushes her chest. She flushes, and his eyes darken with worry. She pulls away, claiming she's fine. Suddenly, he leans in, sending her pulse into a frenzy. She warns him away. He leans in, making her heart stop only to click her seatbelt. Yan feels strangely disappointed. As they drive, she asks why he's so desperate for an identity card. He needs a real job, Yan sweats. Isn't his hospital gardening enough? He notes coldly that gardening doesn't put food on the table. With only his body to offer, he wants a phone and a career. But Jan has darker plans. She won't let Chu roam free. Laughing, she lies, saying his ID was lost years ago. She must keep him close, sculpting his memories to suit her desires. Even to her, this twisted logic sounds like a masterpiece of deception. At the clinic, Yan receives the news. Chu's is physically perfect now, but Chu's sleep depends entirely on Yan. She is stunned by this obsessive bond. The doctor blames accident-related trauma. Yen panics, wasn't she the one truly traumatized? Then comes the chilling truth. Chu was subconsciously hypnotized while in a coma. Yan is frozen. The doctor recalls Chu's first waking words, "Please don't wake up." He explains that a patient's soul hears everything, even in the darkness. 2 years of her whispers have poisoned his mind. Yen knows she is the architect of this madness. Her desperate wish for him to stay asleep has manifested as a psychological cage. The doctor adds a final warning, listing symptoms of Chu's illness. Has Chayu shown these? Yan glares, cursing him for forgetting such a vital detail. He laughs nervously. Since she hadn't complained, he assumed everything was fine. But Yan knows the truth. He is a ticking time bomb of every symptom listed: aggression and obsessive desire. She feels a hollow void as the doctor explains his total dependence. Chu is now a parasite. He is bound to cling to her forever. It will take years of resolve. Che-woo arrives, and the doctor pities him more than her. For life, his day begins only with her. Che-woo follows her like a loyal shadow. "Wait for me," he begs, clutching her supplies. He searches her face for any sign of anger. Her pale expression worries him as she tries to outrun his presence. "Planning to abandon me?" he teases, though his eyes soften with concern for her weakness. Leaning over, he checks if she's falling ill. "I'm fine," she whispers, her voice hollow. If Chao's behavior is just a symptom, shouldn't her guilt finally vanish? If this obsession is just sickness, she could finally walk away from their fake marriage. Yet, she feels like fate is mocking her every move. Tears fall as she strikes her own head in frustration. Chu catches her hand, stopping her. His touch only hurts more. Desperate, she tries to push him away for good. He refuses. "If you want to be alone, I'll just follow behind you." She finds it suffocating, but he argues he's lost in this unfamiliar world. "My head is full of you," he teases. Suddenly, he freezes at a distant sound. His face turns lethal. "Don't look back," he commands. "Just run." Confusion strikes, but he seizes her hand and drags her toward a massive tree. He hoists her up with effortless strength. The source of his panic finally reveals itself. A wild boar charges through the brush. He bellows at her to climb higher. She hesitates, so he roars at her to climb, his voice more terrifying than the beast. Terrified, she scrambles up. Below, she sees Chu frantically searching their box. "Those are gardening tools, not weapons," she screams. She begs him to climb while calling for help. Che-woo casually wields an axe against public property, leaving Yan absolutely stunned by his reckless disregard for the rules. Terror strikes as a wild boar charges. Yan frantically begs him to ditch the wood and find safety immediately. The beast is inches away. Paralyzed by fear, Yan screams for him to dodge the lethal impact. But Che-woo just smiles, his gaze chillingly calm. Despite her desperate pleas, he prepares to face the monster head-on. The brutal clash begins. As Che-woo confronts the beast, Yan closes her eyes, unable to witness the carnage. Opening her eyes, she sees blood. He struck it, but the monster's heart still beats with murderous intent. Suddenly, the boar gored him. Yan's world shatters as she shrieks his name in pure, unadulterated agony. "Don't die," she sobs, hands trembling as she frantically dials for help. Desperate to save her mysterious husband, she gasps her location into the phone, reporting a horrific wild animal attack in the middle of nowhere. Then, the impossible happens. Che-woo seizes the boar's horns, leaps onto its back, and delivers a final, fatal blow. The operator asks if a human was attacked. Yan stares at the corpse. No, a human just slaughtered a monster. Drenched in crimson, Che-woo wipes the spray from his face. "It's over," he says, motioning for her to descend. She clings to the tree, trembling. To her, Chae-woo looks more terrifying than the beast he just butchered. "Stay back," she warns. At this moment, her own husband is the most dangerous predator in the forest. He laughs, the sound echoing eerily through the trees. Yeon shudders, realizing she's truly married a man from a deadly world. Suddenly, Chae-woo collapses, clutching his side in pain. Yeon's fear instantly transforms into a wave of intense worry. He drops the blood-stained weapon, assuring her that the danger has passed and she can finally come down. At the clinic, the doctor is shocked. Surviving a boar attack is a miracle. It's like being hit by a truck. Crossing one usually means death. Chilly realization washes over Yeon. If Chae-woo hadn't followed her, she'd be dead. The doctor promises a house visit later. She thanks him. She breathes a sigh of relief as the doctor departs. His clumsiness kept her secret safe, but then Chae-woo speaks. "Who is that man?" Chae-woo demands, his eyes narrowing with a suspicious, dark intensity that sends shivers down her spine. She nervously explains that the doctor cared for him during his long, mysterious coma, but Chae-woo isn't convinced. Chae-woo stares intensely. Are we actually that wealthy? He knows she struggled. How could a simple woman afford a private physician who arrives at a single command? Loving this recap? Comment part 4 below. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that button. Subscribe!